passion. But whatever the reason, Aerie was glad Wanda was close by. She had moved into the neighborhood about 4 years earlier, and Aerie was grateful she had. She was a friend when times were particularly bad, one she could confide in when things were really awful and she needed someone safe to talk to. Taking a deep breath, her stomach lurching, Aerie walked into the living room. In spite of the music, the feel of the house was still and ominous, as if she just walked onto a horror set. She had taken 4 steps inside when the odor hit. Blood. Lots of it. "Mom?" she whispered softly, her hand going to her throat. Her blood roared a warning in her ears. She didn't want to move, wanted to stay frozen in time right there. No going back and no going forward. Just not move and nothing would be wrong. Her mother had threatened to kill herself many times when she was drunk, but Airiana hadn't believed she'd really do it. The house creaked. The music blared. Her heart slammed a terrible rhythm of dread in her chest. She tried not to breathe in the coppery scent. She absently waved a hand toward the player, and the music abruptly ceased. Air circulated, but it didn't relieve that appalling, frightening odor. Pressing her lips together, she forced herself to walk into the kitchen. Dark coffee swirled in another pattern across the cheerful blue and white tiles, looking like a river of mud. Broken pieces of her mother's favorite mug lay scattered like white islands through the dark spill. A drawer, wide open, tipped precariously downward, and a chair lay overturned beside the kitchen table. Her mother was a neat freak. She would never, under any circumstances, have left such a disaster behind, not even if she was very drunk or suicidal. Airie's heart pounded harder than ever. "Mom!" she called again, this time a little louder. Pain etched her voice. Fear. It was a child's voice seeking reassurance, when lately she'd often had to be the adult. There was no answer. She shook her head and forced her feet to move one step at a time down the hallway toward her mother's bedroom. She pushed open the door slowly. It was empty and as perfectly pristine as her mother always kept it. The duvet was white lace, along with the abundance of pillows and shams. Marina loved white, that pure background that soothed her mind and allowed her to rest. Aerie leaned against the wall and closed her eyes. The scent of blood was overpowering now, much stronger in the hallway. When she turned her head just slightly, she could see a thin line of red leaking out from under the door of her bedroom. Her body, of its own volition, turned away from the sight, a full flight response, but her feet remained frozen in place. She couldn't move. She couldn't leave. If her mother was alive in that room, she needed help. There had been no bottles of alcohol out on the sink in a single line, in the way her mother liked to arrange them. There was no blender plugged in to make the drinks her mother chose to inhale by the gallon when her mind was too chaotic and she needed a respite. There had been coffee on the floor. Aerie bit her lips so hard blood welled up. She had to check. She couldn't run like a coward to her neighbor's house and beg her to look first. Holding her breath, she made it down the hall to her bedroom door. It was slightly ajar, but she couldn't see inside. Very slowly, using her fingertips, she pushed the door open so she could look into her room. She screamed, and screamed, and screamed. Her throat was raw, and she felt blood vessels break, but she screamed on because nothing was going to save her mother, or what was left of her. She knew it was her mother only by the dress she wore, her favorite dress, the one she wore when she wanted to do something fun with Aerie, when she tried to make up for the time she had a bad time, when she was sober and determined to start all over again, and this time, stay sober. "Airiana! Airiana!" Hands shook her shoulders, gentle hands. "They killed her! They tortured her and they killed her!" Airiana Ridell covered her face with her hands, sobbing like that teenager. "I know, honey. I'm here, you're safe. She's in a place where they can't hurt her anymore." The calm, soothing voice broke through the web of her nightmare. The memories in such vivid detail were horrifying, as if it had just happened, as if she had just entered her bedroom and found her mother. She could still